President Barack Obama, good morning, sir. This is Alpha Bravo. They used to call me. This is Alex Beza, Baiza Soroche, Sorroche. I am I am a former Navy SEAL for the Special Tactical Forces Team 4. And you probably don't remember me because I was the one in charge of the technical escape that did the Osama bin Laden capture back in 2000 and when it was 2008, 2009. I'm sorry, sir. I'm very bad with dates. It's been a long time. Anyway, I need to ask a favor. We're having some issues with a local administration here in El Salvador with President Nayib Bukele. And it is my concern, my big concern, that the President Bukele is involved in this conspiration theory. So I sent an information, classified information, all coded in blue, white, and green. I'm sorry, blue, white, and red, super coded. I sent that information to our, ¿cómo se llama? Our national, ¿cómo se dice? Ay, puta. The emergency phone for the national emergency room over there in Pentagon, Ministry of Defense. Now it's called Ministry of War, but what a name. So I found out, I got a couple of discoveries on this new virus. They're trying to they try. You hear me? 3 months. 3 months. They're trying to, ¿cómo se llama? Control the illness of the next pandemic that is happening right now in a few countries. That is Mexico, that is, ¿cómo se llama? Inglaterra, that is Spain, that is the same freaking line that got us into the pandemic in 2020. I'm sorry, 2000 and K? 2000 and the same freaking line is happening here. I'm afraid these motherfuckers are trying to do the same thing again. And since I am a very unlucky, or lucky or unluckily, I discover things. I discover this. This gives this. ¿Cómo se llama? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I apologize, sir. Anyway, so let me tell you a little bit about my story. So how did I end up being ¿cómo se llama? Special forces? Okay, that's the important thing. Start from the beginning. So back in 1980, I'm sorry, what was that? 1990. Shoot, I forgot the day. 1988. I was the first. It was the first time I flew up to Boston, where I grew up. I grew up, 5 months here, 5 months there. I studied at the age of 14. I went to base, ¿cómo se llama? Comcast, in over there in Bedford, in New Hampshire, because my uncle Reuben, he is a Vietnam. I'm sorry, Koreans, North Korea and South Korea war. My uncle Reuben, he's a former soldier. He's an officer, and he ¿cómo se llama? Because of he's retired now. He's gonna be 80 years. He's an old man and he's sick. He's in the hospital. My uncle Reuben, he was a paramedic in the Korea Civil War. If you find you easily can double check the information in the files over there. He saved 20, at least 20, 30 or something lives in the Korean nation, North and South, and he served in the military, and that's the reason why he got granted the immediately the citizenship, right? As we normally do, since he was Medal of Honor and he saved so many lives. The generals and the people back in the days gave him, as the government usually pay you. Education, 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 properties, but more importantly, education. So my cousin Hansi, he graduated from Harvard. I'm sorry, MIT. My other cousin graduated from Harvard. And my other cousin graduated from this and that and that. Okay, I don't need to be more than that because I will be cocky, and we're not that. Having said that, my uncle offered me. Oh, well, I'm sorry, the government of it, the Ministry of Defense back in the days, or the defense, the military back in the days, offer a second round, a second, ¿cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se dice? Another level of education for because the medals and stuff. He gave him another circle of education to his closest family. And being his nephew, I was granted the opportunity to study English over there in Bedford, not in Bedford, but closer to the nearest base closest to Boston, which is Comcast. I can't remember the name. Let me Google it real quick. Air Force Base. I have it on the medals, but I do have it on the medals. Air Force Base in Boston, or closest to Boston. I think it's Comcast. I can't remember. Closest. It was long ago, sir. Hanscom. I'm sorry. I apologize, sir. I was 14 years old when that happened. So Hanscom, they gave me opportunity to study English. So I went there. I flew out for the first time in my life. Back in the days, Delta was offering drinks for free, drinks for free. The whole nine. I remember that very, very well. So I was lucky. I get to meet my family. I get to meet my people from Boston. I get to meet everyone. And so Tio Ruben took me to the base camp over there in Hanscom, and they gave me an opportunity to study English. Since I was a good student, but also the first time, and I already was because I learned English listening to music. That at the age of 7, I was super huge fan of the Beatles, and I remember my mom telling me, "What are you doing, baby? Papi, what are you doing?" And I was reading down the songs, not but the sounds, the lyrics, and that kind of stuff. So I was very interested in music. So, make long story short, they gave me an opportunity. I went and applied, but I just stayed there for 1 month because I was too impatient, como se dice, sofocado, desesperado. And then guess what? They gave me the chance to go for a second month. But back in the days, the general in charge of the camp and the education camp, they asked for the grades and everything. He saw that I only studied a few days, and then my grades were outstanding, outstanding, A plus, A plus. And he said, Ruben, your son, your grandson, I'm sorry, your nephew is kind of a weird case. He doesn't study, he just go to class, he's the number one, he's this and that, and he still got the tens and B's and C, I'm sorry, the A's and B plus. How is this possible? Tio Ruben says, no, it runs in the family. So they gave the officials the 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 grades, right? And then he told the officials, "Well, I want to talk to this little man. I want to see this little man. Alex, come here." And then back in the day, the General MacArthur was in charge of the base and in terms of education. He said, "Son, you are an amazing, outstanding son. You are the son of Boston, blah blah blah." Right? And we spoke in English, and I spoke little English for only 1 month of study. So, make long story short, he told me, "Okay, I'm going to give you a star. You are a lieutenant captain or lieutenant, but you're going to be a legionary, blah, 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 blah. And here's a star. You and I know, Mr. President, that a rank in the military is no bullshit. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're coming from. If they give you a star, if they give you a grade, you are with that star or a grade in the military." So, okay, they told me, "Okay, don't worry, you're gonna be in the communications team, translating, blah blah, this and that. You're not gonna go to the field, blah blah. But since you are studying it, you are gonna learn languages. Only in the event of a World War III, whatever." Oh, because I was obviously, for obvious reasons, I was in the Legion, externals. How do you call that? Legionary teams. I can't remember. Legionary, something like that. So he tells me, only in the event of a World War III, you are going to be. Otherwise, you're going to be all the way to the end of the line. I said, cool. Then they gave me my congratulations, blah, 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 party, party, party. And then I was out in 1 month. So, in other words, I succeeded what people normally take three in one because I love English. I love the culture. I love the language. I love everything about the USA and, their perspective on life. Land of, our national anthem says, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm so touched of what's happening to the United States right now. I can't believe that this president, Mr. Trump, is doing such a terrible job that is splitting our nation in two, and that we are this close to go to a civil war. We don't need another civil war in the USA, for Christ's sake. What we need to be is united for the Americas, United States of Americas. Having said that, the second role that I had was back in 2005. I worked for Dell Technologies. Nowadays, back in the days, we were Dell Corporation, Dell Industries. No, Dell Corp. Michael Dell. And my boss was Scott Kenyon. Back in the days, he was my boss, my mentor. He taught me anything and everything I know about computers. And I'm not a computer savvy, but just know a little bit about technical specs and shit. Sorry for the French. Um, so, make long story short, one day. Oh, and by the way, the government, U.S. government, was a big, big, big part of consumer sales. Customer number one, of course, of Dell Technology. So it comes one day, and the general back in the day, I think it was General McCarthy or General McAfee or something like that. He calls it Scott Kane. Well, he calls obviously Michael Dell, right? Michael, we need this, we need that, we need this room, this blah 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 blah, blah. And we want to have like a room for, ¿cómo se dice? um, an Iron Man. You remember the movie Iron Man? Remember the room with electronic and thing, everything wireless, and he just touched it. Okay, something similar to the day. He wanted to have a special room, the war room. You know what the war room is, right? Your room, Mr. Obama. Everything wireless, huge TV plasma, the big freaking cañón, how do you call that? Projector. You can go live and meet people with. And that was in 2005. We're talking about 21 years ago. And we're used to that. And the people think that it's new technology. Is not. It's very, very old. Pentagon had it, thanks to Dell. So Scott was kind of busy. Oh, wait, Mike called the delegates to his team, and back in the days, Mr. Eric Dittmer, Mr. Eric Dittmer was like the head of IT globally and the head of U.S. sales, consumer sales for Austin and all the region of. Well, Eric Dittmer was the man. He was in charge of IT for South, East, and West, and he was also in charge of U.S. sales, consumer sales for all the USA. So we were one of the five sites that used to sell like Dell, the speed of Dell. Make a long story short, General McCarthy asked him. Michael delegates to Eric. Eric delegates to Scott, and Scott tells me, "Oh shit, here comes another Eric did my assignment. Alex, come get your ass over here." And I say, "What's up, Scott?" "Hey, listen, buddy, I don't have time for this. General McCarthy wants to do this and this and that. Go figure, do it." And the next thing he tells me is, "Do it." Well, it happens that back in the days, we have done that for El Salvador, not one, three, two. We have those rooms ready to rock and roll in the entire building. In the entire building, there were 15 rooms like that. 15, 1 5. So for obvious reasons, our conferences and shit were with audio, wireless, 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 blah, blah, blah. And we did that. We did exactly that. So to make sure, what I'm telling you is we knew how to do things quick and fast. Speed of them. speed of the that was one thing that you have no clue. But he was like, do it, do it, do it, do it now, do it now. You got 3 days, 4 days, and everything was time frame. Everything was planned. Everything was planned to the dot, to the bone. So one day Scott received. Oh, and by the way, when Scott received that message, he receives an email from General McAfee and says, "Scott Kenyon, I know you have a recommendation from Eric Dearman, from Michael Deb, blah blah blah. You're gonna do this, this, and that, and I need you to do this and this and that. And that shed, son, is gotta look neat like Iron Man's office, like Tony Stark." And then he says something like, "I gave you 1 week, son, not more, not one more day, because we are in emergency for the war and shit." So Scott gave me this and said, "Hey, you got 1 week?" I say, "What? You're gonna give me 1 week for this?" We typically normally the time frame that we need is only 3 days. So he tells me, "Okay, do it, do it." Say, "Well, thank you very much for generosity, giving me 1 week." But nobody knew how fast was the environment inside Dell, except than Adele. Adele knew another Adele. A blue one, I knew another blue one. That's what I call blue school. So make long story short, Mr. Obama, we did it. From here, I got a team of 4 or 5 people from Austin, Texas, from here, from there, because we were having conference rooms and shit. And we did it in 3 days. And when General McAfee gets to the office and push the button to turn on everything worked like that in the first single minute. No try and error on the speed, no try and error on the internet. Internet was fine, everything was correct, nothing. It was done to the bone. So General MacArthur was really, really fucking impressed. He calls Eric Dimmer, "Eric, I want to talk to your boy. I want to talk to Scott Kenyon. Can he come over?" And say, "Oh, well, he's busy. He can probably fly, but he can probably fly next week." General McCarthy goes, "No, I want to see him now. I want to give him a condecoration for this." So he flew to El Salvador himself. Civil, vestido de civil. He didn't use the uniform. He was a civil. And he met with my boss Scott Kenyon in a room and said, "Scott, you have done a great service to your country." Blah blah blah. Obviously, it was Scott and him and Eric and shit people over there. And then I kept working and said, whatever. Scott asked me this, so Scott gets a credit, that's fine. Little I know that Scott being Scott, he calls me to the room. He said, "Alex, can you come for a minute?" And I said, "Oh shit, am I in trouble?" And I was like, "Oh fuck, what did I do wrong now?" No, it wasn't that. He calls me and says, "General, let me introduce to you Salvadorian slash Bostonian guy that worked this in 3 days." And then he introduces me to General McAfee. And he says, "Son, I understand that you are the queen of the crap of this crap, of this shit. And I know that you're from Boston, and I know this, and I know that, and I know your family, I know your uncle, I know this, I have explored all the things like in a like like that." And he said, "Son, congratulations for what you done to your country." He thought I was American. And he said, we say, "Wait, wait, 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 no, no, sir, I'm sorry. I'm Salvadoran." He said, "What the fuck are you telling me?" He said, "No, sir, I'm Salvadorian. I'm Salvadorian in the origin. I'm still Salvadorian, and I just flew to study." And then he pushed me to, "No, you earned the citizenship. You earned the citizenship. Once you finish this, and if you go to the military, boom, citizenship like that." I said, "Well, thank you very much. For now, son, I can only give you a star to recognition. You're going to be part of the special forces, blah, 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 foreign country, blah. In the case, in the event of emergency, national wise or country wise or whatever, you're going to be part of it." And I told him, "Sir, I already have one star. Don't worry about it." Say, "What? You have a star? Show me." And then I told him and everything. And I still got my diploma back in Hanscom and all that. "So you have 2 stars. So you're a sergeant," he told me. "So in the Air Force, you are captain, and here you're lieutenant captain. And here in the military, in the Navy SEALs Special Forces, you are a lieutenant, sergeant, sergeant, lieutenant, whatever, because 2 stars." That's my story. So now, sir, I ask you to please, please, please help us in the sense of talk to whoever you need to talk to in the Congress and let us get the evil out of the Americas because the evil is coming and the war is coming. I can hear, I can see them 5,000 miles away. So please, Mr. Obama and Michelle Obama, your wife, beautiful wife, can you please stand up for the Americas? Please, sir, please stand up for the Americas. Please, sir, please, I beg you. This is Captain Base speaking. Fasten your seatbelts. Enjoy your ride. Hasta la vista, señor Presidente Obama, Michelle Obama. And by the way, Michelle, my mother, Marta, back in the days, she used to clean your mother's house over there in what's the island? I'm not sure if it's Nantucket or ¿cómo se llama la otra? Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard. Huh, interesting. Martha's Vineyard. And also Ben Affleck's aunt in over there in ¿cómo se llama? Medford, I think it is. Auntie, la tía de Ben Affleck. My mother used to go there to clean and shit. My mother is the lady of the cleaning houses over there in Boston. Obviously, millionaire, and they love them to the bone. Ben Affleck used to call her on the chun when, obviously, but before he became a super duper star. We're talking about 1996, 97. When they launched it, when they had the Oscar for The Good Will Hunting. So back in the, my mother worked from 2001 to 2002, something like that. That was really only 4 years after they won the Oscar. So he tells me, my mother has she has pictures with him and everything. He says, "Oh, he's a cool dude. He's a nice dude. He almost looks like you." I said, "What the fuck are you talking about, Mom? He's Ben Affleck. I'm just Alex Bass." And then she remembers that every time Ben used to call to her auntie's house, he used to call it La Niña Martita. Ben, brother, if you're watching this, I love you, Boston brother. I'll see you soon here in El Salvador in the name of love. Ciao, hasta la vista. Salud, Lulu.